Hello, everyone. I'm Rob Smith of the In the Black Quant Edge VTF here at T3 Live with this week's market wrap up. And last night had a webinar. I was glad a lot of people turned out for it. And if you want to see a recording of that, you can go to, I believe, our website or my Twitter feed at Robin the Black, and you can watch that. A lot of good stuff there. And I make a weekend video, which is a lot more thorough breakdown of the market. If you like that, you can find that on the Twitter or my YouTube, Smith in the Black, all one word. But for right now, let's get to it. Well, we got an outside week for the SPY, and what that means here is sometimes you'll hear me say fractal triangle. And what that means is outside week. We took out both sides, right? Both sides. So what I mean by that, a fractal triangle is it has to be a broadening formation by definition. It took out both sides. You can see this was an outside week as well, and then the big Brexit, stuff like that. So when you go back like here, and you'll see this series here, big Brexit triangle turned out to be a continuation of this. Higher high, lower low, and bam, outside week. And so if you break it down to shorter time frames on those outside bars, you're going to see the fractal triangles: the higher highs, the lower lows, the higher highs, lower lows, the inside day. And this is actually a dark pool tick, so one inside day, back up, and then forms this other tight one up in here. Higher highs, lower lows, higher high, lower low, and then right back in the middle. If you go down to a 60, you'll see something like a these. Here's this one down here, higher high, lower low, bam. Now we start a new one, bam, 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 and right back in the middle. So here's your outside week with the higher highs and the lower lows, and we get stuck right in the middle. So we got to try and get out of this to see if we can keep rocking here. What we do have the potential of here is the momentum hammer, and what that means is that because of where we closed, what it sets up is, like in here, had their chance to cover their shorts, they didn't do it. Takes it out to the upside, now another doji hammer, and then outside. So I want to see if we can take this stuff out and really start ramping up. So what we look at then, we start breaking it down to the internals, and inside weeks, you got them. You got KRE as an inside week, you got FAS, XLF, and the financials. And I'll granted it's the last week of the month, but these inside weeks can reconfirm the inside month breaks to the upside. You've got inside month and up in XLF, FAS, KRE, and now these weeklies are going to reconfirm or negate that move. So next week we'll still be focusing on a lot of these financials because you got inside weeks for JP Morgan, which is also inside month and up. You've got Wells Fargo, you've got PNC Bank, just a whole bunch of them, and I'll get into that in the weekend video. If we take a look at QQQ, another not too strong to be an outside week, right? Couldn't take out last week's lows. It's granted meandering and doing a lot of nothing, but then not selling off either, and now an outside day. So that's an even tighter fractal triangle that you can see like this here. If you go to the 30, something like this: higher highs and lower lows. Voila. But now right back in here, and then if you break it down further into the QQQ stuff, you're going to notice the semiconductors still going. And semis, this is what you look for in monthly bars. Things going straight up and find your way in. And we had nice boost from AMAT today on the earnings. Here's this monthly momentum hammer. And then today, right out the chute, how do you play the gap and go? It goes up, it goes inside 15, and never looks back, and this kind of sits there for the rest of the afternoon. Another thing that's going to help them Qs do something here is IBB goes inside week. And so now the question is, it's going to triangle back down, higher high, lower low, higher high. Does it come all the way back down there, or is this consolidating here for further breakout to the upside? We'll see. The problem here is still, when we take it to the monthly, is what's it doing for the month? Nothing. It's doji on the month. So not expecting too much out of it, but we'll certainly pay attention to it. We also have an inside week for gold. And gold looking like an inside month. But if it's not going to be, the inside week will take care of it. So we'll see how far it can get. Otherwise, you got an inside month for gold. And on the weeklies, you can take a look. You got the FCX, you got the GG, you got Alcoa. So we got some metals going inside week there as well. TLT here, going inside week as well. So with the financials, as we get closer to the potential, we promise you there's going to be a rate hike sometime, at one time, eventually. As that talk gets closer, and certainly as we get into September and have the jobless claims report, we might get more stuff out of this interest rate sensitive stuff. Take a look at the XLE and the energies. real quick. You got inside day for the energies. XLEOIH inside days. And remember, these are talked about some of this stuff last night when I talk about a reversal strategy month. And what that means is outside bar, for one, on a one bar reversal strat, because it's an inside month. And it took it to the downside and then retook it to the upside, this price equilibrium. So as it starts to come up here and take this out, or even approaches it, what we want to look for is the internals. Look at the stocks that were too strong. And I talked about this last night. Too strong to dip down and take last month's lows, because there's no reason to believe they're not going to take out the highs if this does. And those two in particular were PXD and Baker Hughes. Right there. And then coming in, if we get momentum hammers out of these guys next week, a couple ones we can keep an eye on here. You got XEC here, and you've got EOG. And so when I talk about these momentum hammers, I'll tweet them out and stuff like that. And just a few more. We do have a little concentration of refiners inside week. You got MPC, you got PSX here, and WNR here, which happens to be inside month and up, so we'll be looking for that confirmation. When I talk about a momentum hammer, and I'll tweet them out every once in a while, like FedEx today, we look for these combinations of these equilibrium breaks, and so FedEx is inside month and up in the transports. And so anytime it's got full time frame continuity to the upside, which means it's trading higher than it opened in the month, the week, the day, and the 60, it's something we want to know about. And when the hammer forms on the upside right here, a lot of people are trained to be like, it's hanging man, it's going to go down. Not necessarily. It's a momentum hammer if it takes it out, because you can see this here goes down. If you're short this, you had there's a bunch of profit taking, because once it goes green here, it's green on all time frames. Stops are going there. All right, another group of shorts get caught in here. And then, because it has full time frame continuity to the upside, we have every reason to believe we have natural buyers in there, and we have two levels of stops: these guys and these guys. Boom, right there. And so that was a nice combination there. For the trannies, you got United Airlines going inside week here. As far as the airlines are concerned, we'll see how we get out of that. If we take a look at John Deere today, it was real nice. And John Deere, talk about your gap and go, and why I tweet out the gap list every morning. Inside 15 goes inside 15 up and never looks back. Even here, if you thought you missed it, you got a nice scalp there, and there's a lot of different ways in on that. And as far as the broadening formations, that talk about all the time, if you look at Nordstrom, we've been watching this one for a long time, this weekly. Here, retail, thank you, right here, higher high, lower low, higher high, lower low. Took some work, but then got that weekly momentum hammer here last week, and then bam. So that's still hanging around. And you've got Netflix. I've been watching a lot of this Netflix. A lot of people seeing how tight it is. And so Netflix, one of the problems is we got a week to go, and it's probably going inside month. Right, so you can expect things to go back and forth when they stay inside on a longer-term time frame. So that's what we got. Even though we got the inside week here, now it's a 2-bar inside week because it couldn't take out the previous week here, and it's tightening up indeed. And so at that point, can we expect it to dry up? Yes, we can. Now it goes inside day. And so if you take a look at the internals of this, you see how can this be a broadening formation when it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter? Well, all it's really doing is getting tighter. Those formations are getting tighter. If you look at the 60-minute here, you're going to see this. You'll see this here, a big outside bar. That tells me there's a fractal triangle here. Slight higher high, then comes down, takes out the lows, then comes back up, takes out the highs, then drops back in again. All right, and so if you look at the 15, you're going to see this. Here it gets even tighter. Bam, bam. This big outside bar then comes down here, goes hammer off the lows and comes back up. If you look at the 5-minute chart, you'll see this. Like this. Now it's getting even tighter. Bam, bam, bam. Now eventually all these will get a lot bigger. Once that inside month gets taken out, that's when things really start to move. But you can see even in a consolidating situation, you're going to see the price discovery work this way. So for next week, obviously we've got a lot of these inside weeks. We got the end of the month, and then we're going to have jobless claims in the first week of September. So lots to keep an eye on and see how we can finish this off. So far though, so good. SPY doesn't back off, goes outside week, maintains near the highs. And now we want to see either side of that week getting taken out, and then it's got to stay out. Otherwise, it's going to triangle right back in. So that's going to do it for this week. Hopefully you stop by and check out the video over the weekend. All right, I'm in Chicago, and we've got that air and water show. The Thunderbirds are buzzing all over the place. We got Pearl Jam at Wrigley Field. Going to be a real rip-roarer here. I hope wherever you are is either relaxing or real fun. All right, I'll see y'all next week. I'm Rob Smith, the Black Quant Edge VTF here at T3 Live.